Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now. In the last part, a number of events have happened. We had Deku and the Genetic Council for the Inhumans. Now, the Inhuman Genetic Council, they saw Deku's powers. They saw his potential, and they saw how exactly he is able to utilize them. Deku, he showed his ability to manipulate tech. Along with that, he showed exactly what he could do if he decides to pull it apart and make it into something different, make it into something new. And that, it definitely impressed them. Now, Deku was given information, and he was told about his new home. And Deku, when he arrived, he found Crystal, Medusa's younger sister. And that was definitely interesting. Since Medusa has taken power, she has done quite a bit. However, there are still limits being placed upon her, and that is for a multitude of reasons. Half of their species is gone, half of the council is gone, half of the humans and half of the mutants are all gone. It is only right to assume that whatever happened not only affects them, it affects the universe. The Inhumans have looked into quite a lot. They have certain information prevalent to them, and it has showed bad news. Now, Deku, whenever he met Crystal, he was quite surprised. He's got a roommate, and I mean, that says quite a bit. And Crystal was annoyed. She doesn't like Izuku. At first, she thought that Deku was just being a bit strange, or maybe just being forward. But now she realizes one thing. He doesn't know a thing about their species. He doesn't know a thing about being a human or even know about their history, their laws, and, well, how they operate. And that, it was kind of, it made Crystal a lot more aware of the situation. Deku is starting from scratch, and that gave her a lot to think about. Now, Deku, he began to ask questions and brush up on his history. And that was about 3 months ago. Or let's just say closer to 4. And Deku, he's got a lot going through his mind. He's learned the language of the Inhumans, Tillen, and he has been trying to help. He's been following a bit of a routine. Sometimes he'll go train with Crystal, do something physical and take his mind off of things. He always had the suit, so being a physical combatant never seemed like an option to him. I mean, it's all mechanical and gears, but this allowed him to be human, or inhuman? You know, that's still a bit up in the air, how he feels on separating those two. But I mean, it allowed him to just be Izuku, not be Iron Man. I mean, yes, he can still use his tech, like his repulsors and his jet boots, but not really much else. Izuku began to learn the history, and he discovered quite a few alarming things. Not only did he discover that Inhumans are actually supposed to be weapons, they are created by an alien race known as the Kree. And it was strange. I mean, he didn't know how to separate mutants and Inhumans, but now he does. Inhumans are engineered. Mutants, they're a product of evolution. Though he's not too sure how he feels about that. Inhumans are made to be warriors. They are made to conquer in the name of the Kree. However, in their past, they broke free of their restraints, and they became independent. And that's how history starts for the Inhuman. And it was very intriguing. Now, Deku's been doing a lot of things, and he's got a lot going through his mind. I mean, when he learned about the laws of the Inhumans and saw how they've been changed, he definitely was a lot more alarmed. I mean, Crystal, she's his, what, wife? Great, great. 17 and he's already supposed to be married? You know, the Inhumans have a concept like marriage, but that's so weird. That going through his mind. And currently Maximus doesn't move his piece on the chessboard. Him going to actually look out towards Deku and express. It is his turn. Deku looking up, as currently he is speaking Tillen. Oh, apologies. Were you drifting off? Little bit. I have been thinking about Earth. Have you now? Have you not been, well, comfortable here? I have been, yes. However, I have thought of going back. Particular reasons? Some, yes. Mainly gaining possessions, belongings. Hmm, I understand. However, Digger looking down, staring at the pieces and going to make his own move. And Maximus, he does sit there. Deku turning his head and looking off into space. The guy's got to think. See how he can strategize and think a few moves ahead. Though, I mean, being a foreign game to him, he's pretty good at it. Though Deku, he's pretty sure he's already going to win. Though, the city's already on the dark side of the moon. So, they've got to do quite a bit. If they're going to expand the blue area more, then they have to do a lot. I mean, build the devices properly, get artificial gravity, and find out what they're supposed to be even doing or making. Okay, so once the terraforming does actually properly begin, they can do that. Maybe expand outside the crater and actually do more. Make a second city? Though there's not a lot of Inhumans to do that yet. Most of the crater that they're still developing, it's still challenging. I mean, they have the resources, but it's been troublesome. They lack the numbers to make progress fast. I mean, they wouldn't use certain complexes they create for possible generations. At least not till somewhere between the second and third. And it does get through his mind. It's almost Christmas. He spent last Christmas in the armory. And he didn't go home for the 15th. He missed it twice. That went through his mind. Maximus going to try and get his attention. Deku turning and looking down. Him going to think about his next move. As he does bring his hand down, I'm going to stop. Him looking up towards Maximus as he does going to move his hand to the right. Since he almost made a mistake. Now, Maximus, he does go to turn looking at Deku. Him annoyed and looking back down. Him planning his next move himself. And Deku, after the game is over, he does go to turn. Him going to leave as he's got a few things in his mind. Him going to head back home and get dressed. Now, Deku, he currently doesn't leave his home. Crystal is still out. And that means quite a bit. As Deku, whenever he does go to walk out, he does bring his hand up. Currently, his suit going to fly over to him as he does actually step backwards inside of it. Him going to face fake close as it's a turn. Him going to leave a message on a device as he does going to walk away. Now, Deku, he's going to blast off outside. And some people, they do see Iron Man leave Attilan. As right now, Crystal does turn her head, seeing something arc across the sky. Her thinking about it, we're going to turn back to some of her friends. And going to at least ask them exactly if they can help her on her predicament. What do you mean? I'm just saying, it's been challenging. What do you mean challenging, Crystal? Well, Cisco, it's been weird. Yes, your mate. Correct. I did not know how to approach him. He learned of the law and how it was changed, though it does still provide problems, like how to approach it with him. Correct. Though not just that. You're not too sure if you like him. Uh, yes, Valor, that's true. Now, it's her turn. We're now seeing her friend's ears somewhat twitch. As she's gonna think. Right now she's curious. Though it is interesting. Abilities like a feline. Valor. Right. Though now is not the time to focus on that. Focus on the more pertinent parts of the conversation, Crystal. Her going to look back at her friend. As Cisco, should I ask? Her going to stand and shapeshift directly into Izuku. If Crystal's having trouble actually talking to him and discovering what the two can actually do for each other. It is not like that. Really now. And how would you know? You say that you hardly broach him on many subjects such as this. Yes, he has approached you and asked you about this, and he was quite alarmed to find out that's what we repaired. Correct. So anyways, we're going to sit down and turn back into herself, asking about it. If she's so stuck up on it, then why not just talk to him? Maybe see if they can make things work? It doesn't need to just be a duty to do. I mean, yes, they are compatible, but that doesn't mean they have to just, you know. I mean, look at her sister. Now, it does somewhat make Crystal think about it. Izuku has said quite a lot of things about Earth. I mean, learning more about the media that is there has been interesting. Atellan has been isolated for thousands and thousands of years. But New Atellan, this home on the moon, it's allowed their people to gather under one banner. It's allowed them to gather under one location. There's still more of them than there was before. And that says quite a bit. Their species boomed, then was cut in half. But there's still, what, 3, 4 times more in number? It's been weird to think about. And Crystal, she's just not sure. She's thought about this before in her life, but the council actually allowing these things to happen now for them, it's strange. All her life she thought about one day being like her parents. After she discovered Terrigenesis, she discovered more about herself. But as reality, it's been challenging, difficult. I mean, you don't decide who you love. You get that chosen for you at birth. Though, having someone finally be chosen for her, a compatibility, it's weird. And Crystal, she's at turn. Her going to take flight and going to head back home. So she does have a few things in her mind that she just need to sort out. And there actually is Deku. Deku, he currently does head back to his house. And already is going to arrive, he's going to find that it is still standing. Him going to actually lay it down to the ground and going to step in. Right now, him going to scan the area as there's no one here. The last few blocks have been abandoned. And Deku, when he does this step in, here's a turn, trying to turn on the light. It's not going to turn on. And Deku, he has a turn walking over. Him going to actually look up towards the light bulb and begin the process of turning on the power. Right now outside, going to make a sound, as Deku, he does actually have the lights turn back on, and the block, it does it to light up. And Deku, he does look around. Him walking over to a table and bring his hand out onto it. Him going to swipe away the dust as he does bring his gauntlet up. Him going to actually open the faceplate and going to have the armor float backwards up into the air. Deku going to step out of it, as currently he does stare on. Him looking around the place he called home. Now, Deku, he has a turn. Him walking to the kitchen and seeing them on the table. Him is going to walk over and sit down, since his parents' urns are both there. And Deku, he's got a lot going through his mind. And he has to do one thing. He apologizes to them, since it's almost been, well, it's been a year and a half. Close to that. No, it's been almost 2 years? Jesus. 2 months till the 2 years. Yeah. Time really does fly. Deku looking up, and going to bring his hand up as he does scoot both of the two over. I'm going to turn around and do one thing. Right now he does head upstairs, heading to his room and gathering a few things. Deku, he does pack up his bags, though he does spend a bit of time here. Less than half an hour. Though he definitely went over 10 minutes, his intended time frame. Now, Deku, after he does get everything packed up, here's a turn. Him staring at his home. And right now Deku, here's a turn looking up. Him going to turn off the lights as everything does go dark. Iron Man flying up. Now, Deku, when he does get back out into space, he does have a lot going through his mind. I mean, New York is safe. The world is safe. Any threats that pop up, they have Thor. Anything that bad, they have the Hulk. They have Spidey. They got the Thing. They've got a lot of heroes there. Iron Man's not needed. Izuku, he's needed. He just wants to not think about it. Deku landing back onto Attilan. Whenever he does to arrive, he has to do one thing. He does have to put his armor back where it was, and then head back out. Him walking up and into his apartment. Right now him going to set down his bag as there actually is Crystal, who does get a turn. Her asking him if he's okay, and if he decided to head back, but not against it. Oh, no. Then where were you? I went back to my home. On Earth, not on Earth, or wow, I really just butchered that. I went back to my home on Earth. Whenever I was still human, I grew up there. I just needed a few things. Had to check it out. It's stupid, I know, but you ever heard of Christmas? I have not. I think your species might like it. Though you guys are warriors, and I guess presents might not be in your cards. Explain. Now, Deku does try to explain it to Crystal, and it's a bit weird in her mind. Though she can sort of understand the premise, though it's still weird. And Deku, he does set a few things up. Him, currently, going to put away some of his clothes that do still fit. And Crystal, she doesn't even try to ask questions. Since Deku, he brought back some tech from Earth. And that is where Deku, he does try to talk to her about it, informing her. And humans have access to human entertainment. Yes, but he does want to show her a lot more. Some stuff that she might actually like. I mean, he's been looking a bit more into French, so maybe they can listen to something French. Or maybe something. Hmm. He's actually drawing a blank, though. He's not too sure, though. He's a lot more intrigued. He knows that there's poetry in French, but he's also still worried about reading some literature. There's just a lot about this he needs to work on. Really now. Yeah. Though, have you been? I've been fine. Just, you know, I was hanging out with some of my friends. Right, right. And? And that was really all. You weren't going to training tomorrow, this morning. Oh, yeah. I was a bit busy talking to your cousin, Maximus. Yeah, him. Me and him are still trying to work on a lot with the atmosphere devices. Once we can properly expand the terraformation, then we can do a lot more. I mean, we've already done our best trying to improve crop development and make some stuff that can enrich the soil. But if we enrich it too much, it could harm plant production. I mean, his words, not mine. I'm still trying to learn a lot more about your guys' food system. It's weird. Well, yes, it is. Though, are you hungry? Uh, a little bit. Why? I prepared something earlier. And there was extra. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's over there in the cooling device. You mean the fridge? Preservation device? The fridge. What am I saying? Now, just a stare at Deku. And Deku, he does think about laughing for a second. Though, after his turn, he doesn't have his face immediately crack. Him trying to stifle a laugh, as Rhino Crystal's a turn. Her bring her hand up, and thinking about zapping Deku on the shoulder. Since, clearly, she made some sort of pun. And that, it does want to annoy her. Earth humor is strange to comprehend. And Deku, after his little walk back over, he's gonna sit down. Him gonna turn as the TV does gonna pop on. Him gonna put on a show that he watched some time ago. And Crystal, she's gonna stare on. Her not really impressed. Though, as I start to play more and go further and further along, so you find yourself intrigued by these characters. I mean, it's a story. One that's new. Her staring at it. And Deku, hook, line, and sinker. That is someone who's about to binge the entire season. Him gonna bring the fork up to his mouth, as he's gonna begin to chew his food. Now, Crystal is gonna watch on. Her gonna watch the first episode end and turning to Izuku, trying to ask him some questions. And Deku, he's gonna bring his hand up to his mouth. Her gonna turn and look at him, bring her hand up, and gonna do one thing. She's gonna try and ask him again. Exactly, what does he know will happen next? Or if this is just a one-off thing. No, it's fine. Listen, there's a lot more. I mean, it could be interesting. I do not like the cliffhanger. Listen, I would much rather, you know, what? Hang on. We're gonna turn. Her going to go back into the kitchen and go to bend down, opening a cabinet, as is a slight open, and she's gonna grab one thing. It's currently cold. And Deku, he's gonna watch her walk back over and sit down. Her with a glass, As she does go to set it down, Deku, watching her crack something open and pour it into a glass. And with a strange coloration. What is that? It is a drink. What is it, though? It's a drink. Okay. Her gonna bring her hand down, grabbing it and going to take a sip. As Deku hears the watcher lean back and go to ask him to turn it on again. And Deku hears it to do so. Him going to stand up and walk back into the kitchen. Him going to get something to drink himself, as he has actually opened the same cabinet. Him going to bend down and grab something, we're going to pull it up. Him going to pour it in, as he does, they're going to turn, putting it back down. Him walking back over and going to sit. The two going to sit there in silence. And Crystal occasionally does try to ask him questions. Deku giving her some answers. As for the two, they are just a bit more intrigued. Now, there actually is Deku, who, after a few episodes, has a turn to her. Her actually going to turn to him and see his expression. Are you alright? No, I just got a few things in my mind. Are you not distracted? I am. Though, it's just been weird. Her gonna sit up. How so? I've just been trying to get adapted to all this. Though putting the armor back on was probably a bad idea. I think better in the suit. Putting it back on just, I don't know. You're still coping. Isn't everyone? It is, yes. However, since we are getting into heavier subjects, I would like to talk to you about the whole marriage thing. Partnership thing, correct? Right. Listen, Crystal, I don't know how I feel about all that. I mean, yes, it's recommended for us to, but maybe we could just take things slow. Oh. Oh? Yes. I was expecting a different response. Last time we talked, you were alarmed by it. I believe that you saw it as your civic duty? Yeah, no, it's not that. Listen, it's just, my last relationship was very complicated. How so? Would you believe that my ex tried to kill me? I could. Oh. Well, it's more complicated than that. She was a nice girl. She was kind, smart. She was beautiful. And she seemed not like her family, especially after I learned who they were. What were they? Her grandfather was a heartless man. He was evil. He always tried to prove a point to no one. He acted like he was the best whenever he wasn't. Think of Maximus. Oh, yeah. I know I've read information that he's not really that trustworthy, but after everything happened, he's been more cooperative for species. He has been, yes. It's been nice. Yeah. Though I know your other. It's so weird to I don't know how your family works. It is sometimes confusing. We're gonna sit there. I'm gonna sip her drink. They're gonna turn to his own. Him gonna take a sip of the juice as right now he's turn back to her. Him talking about it. It has been rather intriguing though. He thought he could help her change, though he thought He thought Izuku wouldn't be needed. He tried to do so as a hero, but that may have been his mistake. That was the last time he ever saw her. Whenever she found out that he was Iron Man, after she murdered her grandfather and just killed her parents, or her mother, he looked into that more. Her father died in an accident, though that, it just makes him have more questions. And he's not too sure if he wants answers. Her family messed her up pretty damn well. That is tragic. It really is. I mean, she was somebody on the level you could talk to. She was blunt, and she was good. I knew she was. I could see it in her, but she just didn't know how to be good. I thought I could help. Though, I messed up. You cannot blame yourself for everything. I can. I can blame myself for that. How do you know? How do you know that she would not have just rejected your kindness? I don't. Exactly. You cannot make a guarantee. It is sad to say, Izuku, but whenever people are stuck in situations like that, they are desperate. Medusa is like that sometimes. However, she's willing to sacrifice an individual for the majority. She understands that. Though Black Bolt was the same. I get it, but making choices like that is still hard. Yeah, I don't know if I could make a choice like that. It's not easy. It doesn't sound easy. Yes, well, I'm sorry you have to deal with that. I'm going to turn. Her going to express. So I'm going to scoot over and going to actually hold out her glass to Deku. That maybe he should, you know, talk. This is the most the two have ever really actually spent together. And they barely just started talking. I mean, she knows how he feels about the whole council thing. Hmm? Okay. Yeah, I find it weird. Okay, so talk about that. Listen, it's what? Am I not appealing? No, you're very, that's a trap, isn't it? Whatever do you mean? You're going to ask me questions, make me say the wrong thing, see what you can do there, right? No, I'm genuinely curious. Oh, right, sorry. You're being cautious. Yes, but I'm being cautious around you. I know you won't kill me in my sleep, but still. It's just a bit weird. Weird. How so? I'm going to turn. Her going to pour more of the juice into her glass. As Rano Deku hears her to watch her going to turn. Her holding out the bottle to him. Ask him if he would like some. I'm going to turn and stare at it. Bringing his hand up and grabbing the bottle. No label. The Deku does look down at his glass. It empty. Him going to pour, as to bring the glass up to his lips, taking a sip, and a lot more alarmed. This tastes delicious. Quite nice, isn't it? Oh yeah, no, that's really good. It's like lime and orange. Though this taste, I don't know what that is. Deku's staring down at it, a little bit more surprised. This is amazing. Now, as I turn back to Crystal, And the two, they do try to talk more about the situation, how things are, and how it is between them. Yes, they're still growing on each other, though they don't hate one another. Crystal has been happy to teach Deku a few things, and Deku has been happy to open Crystal up to a bit more about Earth. It's definitely been informative for the two. And Crystal, she's gonna like that about Izuku. He does allow himself to never be closed minded, always think, adapt, and overcome. I mean, he's been trying to build a life here, and she's trying to rebuild after Lockjaw's vanished, her best friend. That ran through her mind. And Crystal, it still hurts. Her just gonna sit there. And Deku, he does at least try and talk to her. Deku, he does a turn. Him going to actually fully lean up, as Crystal does a turn to Izuku. Her just gonna think. Ash tries to stand and lean forwards. Right now, her going to give Deku a bit of a kiss. And Deku, he does this won't sit there. Him, surprised and caught off guard. As right now, he does this find that taste on her lips. It's a bit strange, but he's not sure what to do. Her gonna pull away. And Deku, he has a stare at Crystal. Her gonna smile. As Deku, he has to watch her turn and walk off. Her gonna say something in Attilan, or in Tillen, as Deku, he's trying to gather his own thoughts. Still not really too sure. I mean, Jesus. Okay. What the hell was that? Okay, he knows. Right. Was that a test? Maybe. Or maybe not. Though, it's a bit weird. Does she. I'm gonna turn. And right now, Crystal, she is in her room. And Deku, he just doesn't sit there. Him not sure what to do. And right now, Deku, he has to do one thing. He has to turn looking back at the TV. Him thinking that Crystal called it a night. And Crystal herself does lay in her room. Her with a lot going through her head. It's weird. She's heard what people have said about Izuku. She's heard what people have thought about him. It's been intriguing. He tries to be a physical combatant, even though he doesn't have a need for it. He tries to busy his mind because he can't, well, busy his hands. Though he also tries to busy his body. Make sure to push it. Make sure to interact and be a part of the world. It's definitely strange. Though maybe the two can go out, head somewhere to eat. I mean, he's going to be working tomorrow, and she does have a few duties to attend to. So that will be. Right. The two can do that. Or maybe talk to her sister. Give her a bit of a heads up. I mean, Maximus will be fine working alone. Though, no harm done. I mean, Izuku has been working for the last few days. So, give him some time off. Let him rest properly. Let him just have a minute. And Deku, he's got a lot going through his head. I'm just wondering if he should try to introduce her to more Earth media. I mean, it's a bit weird, but yeah, she kissed him. I mean, she doesn't like him. She's trying to figure this out. He's trying to figure this out. Where exactly they stand. It going through his mind. Currently, I'm going to turn and lay down as the TV does it go off. And Deku, he just does go to sip the juice and think. Now, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.